Okay. So yesterday we have discussed about the basic purchase order process. Okay. In basic purchase order process, we have 5 steps. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
Purchase order creation, purchase order confirmation, product receipt, invoice posting, vendor payment journal. So we have 5 steps. The whole complete process has 5 steps. This is basic purchase order process. Today we are going to discuss about the request to PO process. Okay.
Okay.
Request to RFQ process. This is RFQ process or request to PO process. Q to PO processing. Okay. In this, what happens? This PO process is there, right? RFQ to PO process. So this is called PO process. First, what I'll do? RFQ. First step I'll say RFQ creation. Okay. Second step is RFQ send. Okay. 3. Manage replies. Step is compare replies. Fifth step is PO process. Understood now? PO process is nothing but the whole process.
Okay.
That I have explained you the basic process. This is A, B, C, E, E. Okay. So total we have 5 steps here. These 5 steps in the sense that the 5th step is a process which you have learned in the previous chapter.
Okay.
So if you learn this purchase order process thoroughly, what we can do, we can make the 5 steps into single step.
Okay.
Understood, na? So in the second process, the purchase or RFQ process, what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss about how to create a purchase request for quotation. RFQ is nothing but a request for
Quotation.
quotation. Okay, what we do here is we add item and vendor information. Okay, in request for quotation process, request RFQ creation, what we do, we add item. Okay, we need item information and the vendor information. Second thing is just in the request created RFQ to vendors. Okay. Third thing is managing the replies in the sense we have to update the RFQ process. We have to update the RFQs against the information received.
Okay.
Our RFQ request for quotation. The request for quotation which we have created, we have to update or modify. Update or modify our quotation for which we have received the reply from vendors. Okay. In the sense, there is something called reply manage replies. In that, what happens? We have sent quotation to multiple vendors, like 3 vendors we have sent quotation. One vendor might have given price like 10 rupee. Some other person had given 15 rupees. Some other person had given 20 rupee. So all this information will not be automatically updated in the Dynamics 365. What they do is like they might send the quotation through email or through WhatsApp or whatever it is, whatever medium we have. From that medium, they will be sending. They might send through Gmail or Outlook, or they might send through phone message or WhatsApp message. So the information what you have received from the vendor from different transmission, we have to update the Dynamics 365 application request for quotation with the received information. Understood?
Yeah, I understand.
You might have received mail. That mail information you have to update in the system.
Okay.
Okay. And after that, we have to compare all the three quotations and accept and reject
Okay.
the quotations. Okay. After doing the accept and rejection of the quotations, we'll be accepting one quotation and rejecting the rest of the quotations. We cannot accept two quotations. We can only accept one quotation. For example, you have selected, you have sent quotation for 10 vendors and we have received all 10 vendors quotation. So you'll be selecting the best quotation among the 10 quotations. And if you accept one quotation, rest of the 9 quotations get rejected. And this quotation information will pass to the this quotation information will be the final quotation, final information. This information will be used for PO process. Okay.
Okay.
So here total we have 5 processes, but this 5th process is a big process which we have learned in the earlier class.
Okay. Yeah.
So what you are doing, first you have to create a RFQ. Because RFQ, why you are creating RFQ in the sense, you do not have, you know what to purchase, but you are not confident of the price.
Okay.
You you want to purchase laptop, okay, but you don't know what is the best price for that laptop. For that, what you'll do, you will do the verification with 4-5 vendors, right? You will get the quotation from 4-5 vendors and you do the comparison with 4-5 vendors and you will finally decide, okay, this person is giving the good price. Based on the price and delivery terms, you'll decide this person is the best person. So we'll go with this person and you will be rejecting the rest of the quotations. Correct?
Yeah.
So any doubts?
No, you can continue. If I have any doubts, I'll unmute.
Okay, then what I'll do, we are going to create the request for quotation. So before that, I will also show the same process in the flow diagram. So in the first stage, what we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 stages. So 5th stage is a basic purchase order process that we have learned in the earlier classes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the first stage, what we are going to do is we are going to create the request for quotation. While creating the request for quotation, we add the item and the vendor information. After adding vendor and item information, we do that is done. RFQ creation is done. And second step is once we create the item and vendor, we have to send that information to the vendors. So there is one button called send button. When we click on the send button, this information will be sent to all the vendors. After sending this information to vendors, that vendors will reply to us. So that reply we might receive through mail communication or different phone communication or WhatsApp communication, whatever communication they are sending. That information we have to gather and that information we have to update in the system using the concept called manage replies. In manage replies, we'll be updating the quotation information, updating the quotation which we have received from the vendor, and we'll be doing the submit. After submitting all the quotation information, there is an option to compare the quotations which we have received from different vendors. So here what we do, first we do the update of the quotations. After updating the quotations which we have received from the vendor, we do the comparison of the quotations. After comparison of the quotation, we do the accept and rejection of the quotations. Finally, one quotation will be awarded and accepted and awarded with the purchase order. Rest of the quotations get rejected and the accepted quotation will be converted into purchase order. Once the purchase order is created, as you know, the regular process like confirm, purchase order creation, confirmation, product receipt, posting, vendor payment journal will happen. Okay, purchase order creation, confirmation, product receipt, invoice posting, vendor payment journal will happen. So whole process today we are going to discuss purchase request for quotation to PO process. So first we'll start with the RFQ creation. Okay, we'll go to Dynamics 365 application. Okay, we are in USMF legal entity. Now we are going to create the request for quotation. So first step is a request for RFQ creation. So we are going to procurement and sourcing, collapse all, request for quotation, all request for quotations. Here we create new. We are in all request for quotations, create new. Okay, we'll have the form called new request for quotation. Okay, here you can select the site and warehouse information here, or we can select the information in the later stage. Okay. Is not mandatory, just for information purpose. RFP for request used for purchase goods or services. So we can select anyone. This is not mandatory. Without this one also, we can go ahead. So here, after clicking on a new button, there is no information to be filled. We have to fill only the warehouse and site information. OK. Have created the site and warehouse information and clicked on OK. And after going inside, we have to add the item information. So we are selecting item number 1000. OK, we have added the item number 1000. How many quantity I want? 3 quantity, and price we doesn't know what the price is. So we have added the item, save, and go to here. We have already discussed while doing the request for quotation process. What we have to do, we have to add the item and the vendor information. So we have added the item information here. So first step is done, item information done. So we have selected some item called 1000 and site and warehouse we have selected. Second step, we have to add the vendor. We have to come to headers, and under the header we have so many fast tabs. In the fast tab, we will be selecting the vendor information. Let us select some vendors. Vendor 1. vendor 2, vendor 3. So we have selected 3 vendors for this item. We want to procure this item. So we are trying to get the request for quotation. We are planning to get a quotation from these 3 vendors. Okay, we have saved. Okay. Now what had happened is we have created the request for quotation. In the request for quotation, we have added item and vendor information. And second step is request RFQ send. So we have to send this information to the vendors. So in the quotation tab, quotation action tab, there is something called send. We'll click on send. Okay, after while sending, I have to check all the information, like we have to select this item. I have to select this item and this is already selected. So we are sending the quotation. We want quotation for this item from these 3 vendors. Click OK. Done. So we have sent quotation and we got a notification that RFQ 0001 has been sent to vendors. So automatically one RFQ, in the sense the request for quotation case is there, right? This quotation is being sent to the vendors. Okay. So what we are doing now, request for quotation sent to vendors. Now we have to do the manage replies. In manage replies, what happens? There is some button called, see, there is a flow in the application. First, what we have done, we have created. After that, we have something called send button. After send button, we have manage replies next to the send process. Okay, here under replies. So now what happens? We have to update the quotation information received from the vendors. We have sent quotation to the vendors and vendors might have replied to that quotation. So yeah, once the information is received from the vendors, we have to update that information in the application, Dynamics 365 application. So we go to manage replies. In manage replies, we have created one quotation, that is quotation number 11, 00011. Under that quotation case, request for quotation case, if you click here, quotation case, we have created 3 vendors. We have sent quotation to 3 vendors. So this will be high level. Under these quotation case, there are 3 sub quotations. Understood? Na? 3 sub quotations we have under that quota. Under this okay, request or quotation, under this request for quotation, we have 3 sub quotations. So each quotation is pertains to one vendor. So let us select one vendor. So we have clicked on this vendor and what we have to do, we have to update the unit price and the quantity. Unit price and the quantity of the given by the vendor. This particular vendor had will send the information through any of the media. That information we have to update in the application. So for that, what you have to do, click on edit reply. This will be done by the purchaser only. Purchaser is updating the bid. Purchaser is updating the bid in the sense the person who had created this request for quotation will update the application. So here what we have 3 quantity units of measure. We have the price. For example, from this vendor, we might have received the quotation and the quotation might be somewhere around $800. OK, submit. So we have received quotation information from the vendor. We are updating the application with value $800 and save and submit. In the same way, we have to update the quotation information for other 2 quotations. So this is one quotation. After that, I have to go back and select this one. Edit replies, reply. This vendor might have given a quotation of $900. Okay, save and submit. Okay, go back, and this vendor might have given the quotation for, if you continue, it will not be. Unit price $750. Okay, save and submit. Okay, done. So here what we have done is like we have created one request for quotation. Sorry, we have created one request for quotation case 000011. Under that quotation, we have added 3 vendors. So for each vendor, one quotation has been sent. One request for quotation has been sent. That request and quotation is called is given one separate number like 17, 15, 16, 17. Okay, all these quotations information we have received, we have updated the quotation value in the application in Dynamics 365 application. In replies we have done. Now what we have to do after manage replies. So what we have done is like we have created the request for quotation with and we have added item and vendor information. First step. Second, after adding the vendor and item information, we have sent this quotation to the vendors. After sending this quotation to vendors, the vendors have replied with some value like $800, $700 and $900. That information we have manually updated the system with the quotation value received from the vendors. After updating that one, we have to do the comparison of the quotations now. So what we are doing, we have updated the value. Now we have to do the comparison of the quotations. So we do the quotation comparison. So when we do the comparison, each line represent every 2 lines represent the vendor, one vendor. Okay. So the quotation which we have received from one vendor is $2,400. Other quotation which we have received is $2,700. Other one is $2,250. So this is the best price which we have received. We are selecting this one and we'll do the acceptance of that quotation. So what happens? Accepting request for quotation. So we are accepting this 2,251. After accepting, the system will ask to reject the other 2 quotations. Okay, now it is a system is asking to reject other 2 quotations. See, rejecting quotations, request for quotations, that is 15 and 16 quotations we are going to reject because we have accepted one quotation, others automatically gets rejected. Meanwhile, we'll see the process here. So what we have done the RFQ creation. In RFQ creation, we have added item and vendor information. Second thing, we have sent this information to vendors. Third one, we got replies from the vendors and we have updated that information in the manage replies. After updating, we want to compare the information, compare the quotations. After comparing, we'll be accepting one quotation and rejecting other quotations. Network issue. Okay, we'll do once again. Let me check in the duplicate tab. What's happening here? Okay, we have this quotation. This quotation, compare replies. So compare reply has not happened here. So okay, we have to. Okay, here this is updated. Here it is not updated. Okay, we'll see this. Okay, accepted. After that, save, and after saving this compare, see what we did. We have accepted and rejected. After accepting, go to general and go to purchase order. We click on purchase order. With this information, the accepted information will be converted into purchase order. Okay. Once we click on the button, purchase order button in general, automatically one purchase order get generated. Okay. See, automatically this purchase order got generated with purchase order number 169 to this vendor called 1003 with this item, site warehouse, and the quantity and the price $750 per unit. Now what you have to do? We have to do the regular process. Regular process in this, first you click on edit, and after that you do the saving of that. So all this information we can see. What is the RFQ number? This is the request for quotation case, and this is the RFQ number. Under this RFQ quotation request for quotation case, there were three sub quotations. Sub quotations like sub quotations 15, 16, 17, and one got finalized. Okay, this you have all the information. Now we have saved this one. After saving, the regular purchase order process we are going to do, that is called purchase process. In this purchase order creation is done, so automatically purchase order is done. So there is no need for this one. Okay, directly purchase order get generated. Now we have to do the confirmation of the purchase order. So senior management has to do the confirmation. Here confirmation, there is a button called confirmation. So we can see, before that we can see the inventory. Go to transactions, and it is 169 ordered 3 quantity. Good. Now we have to do the confirmation. Okay, purchase order confirmation done, graded out. Next we are going to do the product receipt. Product receipt we are going to do. Go to receive product receipt. The quantity you can check. So purchase order number, item, quantity, everything is there. The way packing slip number we have to enter, some number we are going to give 169, and we do the OK. Okay, product receipt is done. We can see the inventory status, transactions, product is received, and date is updated. Done. Then we are going to do the invoice posting. In invoice posting, what you have to do is like the invoice number from the vendor we have to update. Invoice number 169, some invoice number I am putting, and the invoice date might be the current date or past date. I'm putting the past date. After putting the date, the status is not matched. Match status is not performed. So we have to do the performance of the match status. So we have to check, okay, 3 quantity received, 3 quantity, okay, everything is looking fine. Okay, and we'll update match status. Then the status gets passed. After that, we are going to do the posting. Okay, invoice got posted. We can see the status. In status, it is showing purchase or purchased, and financial and the physical date got updated, and the cost amount also got updated. Okay, good. Then what you have to do, invoice is posted. Now invoice posting is also done. We can check this information in the vendor transactions. So this information, the invoice information will be updated in the vendor. The vendor balances will be updated in the transactions. If you see the invoice, you can see this invoice, and if you go to voucher is not updated. So to update the voucher information here, we have to go to subledger journal entry, and we have to move the file from there to here. If you want to have that information very quickly. So what we are going to do, I'll duplicate one more here. Meanwhile, I'm going to show you the vendor information. The invoice which we have posted will be updated in the vendor transactions. So vendor balance will be updated. So he's the vendor. If you see the vendor and the transactions, if you see invoice number 169 will be updated here. So you can see the invoice number 169 is updated with the $2,250 USD here. So we are supposed to pay this much of amount to this vendor. And now let us see the subledger general entry, because the voucher is not updated. To update this voucher, we have to go to accounts payable, general ledger, periodic task, subledger general entry is not yet transferred. So you will have all the ledgers which are not posted or transferred. That vendor, that vouchers you have to explicitly move to the appropriate folders. 1 second. Okay, there are two subledgers. So we let us transfer these two. Okay, we have transferred this.
Before transferring.
Yeah.
Okay, it is okay. I thought to check what is that Weave accounting. Anyway, we'll see that later.
Okay, let's see one second. So we can see now, if you update this one, we can see all the ledger information, and the voucher information is passed from there to here. Okay. Now what we have to do, we have to pay the amount to this vendor, right? So for paying this one here, what we have done till here, from quotation to invoice posting done. So we have to do the payment to this vendor. So for doing this payment to this vendor, first we have to check. First we'll have some information with us. So invoice number is this one, and line level. Okay, invoice number is this, Let us see the voucher number. Voucher number. So 999 is the voucher number. Let's see if this voucher is there or not. So based on this voucher, we'll be paying the vendor. Okay. We're going to accounts payable, payments, vendor payment journal. In this stage, we are going to pay the amount to vendor. So we'll select vendor payment, creating one vendor payment journal and go to lines. Here what we do is like we'll select the vendor. See, settle transaction is graded out. We have to select first the vendor information. So 1003 is the vendor. After selecting the vendor information, this will be enabled on clicking settle transactions. We'll have all the invoice information. This is the information invoice which we are planning to pay now. So this invoice we have selected. After selecting this invoice, you are clicking on OK. After clicking OK, we'll do the validation. Validate. OK. Then post. Posting result. Posting has not. Posting without amount cannot be made. Posting without amount cannot be made. What is this error? Posting without amount. Srinivas, can you stop that recording? Srinivas?